Alrighty, chicos, bienvenidos a otro episodio. This is one of the bigger grammatical concepts you guys are going to be learning this quarter. So right now, first thing on the agenda, let me put my face here. Buenos dias or buenas tardes, hopefully not buenas noches. The thing that you need today, absolutely need, is your cuaderno. Saca el cuaderno, por favor. Please take out your notebook. You're going to need to take very good notes during this because this is, again, one of our bigger concepts of the quarter, and you're going to want some good notes on this. So get your notebook. You're going to be taking some notes, and you need to upload a photo today, yes, of those notes to the assignment on Google Classroom. Okay, so I'm going to move myself up here for the remainder of the session, unless I get in the way. Today, please go to the next blank page in your cuaderno and write the title. The title of these notes are Los verbos radicales. They are radical verbs. They are also known as stem changing verbs. They're also known as shoe verbs, and we will get to the reason why. Okay, they are known as all of those different things, but you can call any one of those things right there. Okay, verbos radicales, stem changing verbs, shoe verbs, any of them go. So you're going to be learning a new conjugation today. You're going to be learning a few new verbs today. So follow along and make sure you take some good notes. Here we go. Empezar, chicos. The first verb you're going to learn is empezar. Repeat after me at home on your own. Empezar. Okay, empezar means to begin. Now here it is, our familiar chart. Yes, our familiar chart. Yo, tú, él, usted, etc. I, you, he, she, we, they, etc. All of them are here. Now, this is an AR verb, right? It's an AR verb. It ends with AR, so it's going to follow that AR conjugation. So, regularly, if this were a regular, normal, nothing happening to it verb, we would take away the AR and replace it with a what right here? That's right. Uh-oh. What about here? Empezás. What about here? Empezá. Empezamos. Empezáis. Empezán. But don't write that. It's wrong. Sorry if you already started. Don't write that. It's wrong. The only two that are correct are these two right here. And this is why stem changing verbs are a little bit different. And this is why you gotta pay real close attention to if it is a stem changing verb. So those are wrong, but these two are right. So if you wrote those down, good job. But the other four right there, nope, those are wrong. They do not follow the normal pattern of a regular AR verb. Okay, they're a little bit different. And here is why. Empezar, it changes. This E right here, new thing happening with Screencastify. Let's see. Ooh, this E right here, it looks like a crayon, is going to change. This E is changing to a IE. So not just empezó, but empiezo. Okay, empiezo. Yo empiezo. I start. Now it's going to follow the same pattern right down here. Okay, notice I still have an O. That is correct. My endings are going to be the same. Now right here, I got empiezas. Empiezas. Moving on, I got empieza. Do you see a pattern? Do you see a pattern? Now remember, these two, I told you, were correct. No change happening here. Empezamos, empezáis, and the last one, empiezan. So if you notice, this E is changing to an IE, like that. E is changing to an IE, but only in the shoe. Cue the shoe in the shoe verb. Okay, this is why these are called shoe verbs, because I can draw a shoe. I can draw a boot. They're also called boot verbs, if you've heard that before. Boot or shoe verbs, because I can draw a pretty little shoe. I can draw a pretty little boot around these four conjugations right here, because these four, oh, let me draw it. Let's do azul. We can draw a boot, yes? Oh, this is hard. We can draw a boot or a shoe. Ooh, that's ugly. A boot or a shoe to signify those are the only ones that stem change. Those are the only ones that have that E to IE happening, right? See right here, we don't have a stem. Oh, missed the E. See right here, we don't have a stem change, okay? It's just with the E. It's just with the E. But these are E to IE, okay? Notice the difference happening there. Clear screen. Yes. Okay, so that is what a shoe verb is all about. There is a difference in this stem. Remember, the stem of the verb is everything except the ending. So the stem changes. That's why they're called stem changing verbs, guys. Empiezo, repítame, empiezo, empiezas, empieza, empezamos, empezáis, empiezan. Okay? But it is an AR verb, and it follows those AR endings, o, as, a, amos, ais, and an. Okay, those stay the same. The only thing changing is the stem. That is why they are called stem changing verbs. So make sure you got this whole thing down. I would suggest you highlight or you color coordinate or you draw a shoe to help yourself in the future. Okay, so this is an example of a E to IE stem changing verb. There is another kind. Okay, so this is a E to IE. And I will tell you if it changes. I will tell you if it is a stem changing verb. This one is. So we move on. Oh, I kind of already told you, but this is in words. If you want to write this down, you can. If you get it, you don't have to. A stem changing verb, guys, they deviate from the normal pattern of regular verbs, right? Regularly, we don't do anything in the stem. We don't touch it. We just change the end. Now, these ones, we got to change two things: the front, the stem, and the back, the conjugation ending. They have a vowel change in the last syllable of the stem, which I will remind you of later. Okay, so we take the infinitive, which is an AR, ER, or IR verb. We take the stem, which is everything except the ending. And now notice, I'm looking at the last syllable, right? Empezar. 3 syllables. Empezar. We took away the zar, so this is the last syllable in my stem, and we change it to a ie to ie, a, ie, and we conjugate it, right? Just like when we conjugate things normally, but this one is a little different because it requires the stem change. Okay, so this is a stem changing verb. This is how you do a stem changing verb, similar to normal conjugations, but the stem changes. Hint, stem changing verb. Okay. If I went too fast, remember you can pause me. I will move on. So, continuing on to that, there are 2 kinds. I showed you an example of a E to IE. Okay, it is written like this. It can also be written like this. It can also be written like this. Okay, you're going to see an E and then an arrow, IE, or E and then 2 dots, IE. You can also find O to UE, O, A, U, E. See, E, A, I, E, O, A, U, E. O, A, U, E are other kinds of stem changing verbs, and we'll do an example of that. O to UE, that's the second kind of stem changing verb. There is one more kind you're actually going to learn today, but it's only one verb, so easy peasy lemon squeezy. So this infinitive verb is volver, volver. This O in the stem, right? Volver, 2 syllables. When we take away that ER, we just got volv. So the O is going to change to a UE. Okay, the O is changing to a UE in this case because we're using this stem change right here. To a vuelvo. Vuelvo in the present tense yo form. And you don't know what that means yet, and it's okay because we're gonna go on to show you what that verb means. Okay, but this is the second kind. You got E to IE, you got O to UE. So let's take a look at the whole chart for volver. Keep this in mind. Okay, keep the O to UE thing in mind. Keep the shoe in mind as we look at volver. Repítame, volver, volver. It means to return, okay? You already know regresar means to return, and this is a cognate. It also means to return. Now, we just did, just in that last slide, the yo form of volver. I told you that this is a O to UE stem changing verb. O to UE stem changing verb. So let's conjugate that. Vuelvo. See, vuelvo in the yo form. Now you are going to go ahead and on the puzzle conjugate in the to form. Now please don't forget, guys. Don't forget. We'll put it in yellow. This is an ER verb. So make sure you use your ER endings in addition to your stem changing. So what's going to happen in the to form? Vuelves. See? Vuelves with a UE and then a ES happening right there. Vuelves with the ES. That's for a you return, right? I return, vuelvo. Vuelves, you return. Usted now. Vuelve. See? Vuelve again, using our ER endings with the shoe, with the stem change. Now we come up here to the nosotros form. And remember, nosotros, not in the shoe. So what's the conjugation going to be if it's not in the shoe? No stem change. Volvemos, sí, volvemos. Vosotros, also not in the shoe. Volvéis. And the last one, it is in the shoe. Vuelven, see? And then cue the shoe. Wait, what? ODE, cue the shoe. There it is. Okay, cueing my shoe. There it is. There's the shoe. It's ODE. Vuelvo, vuelves, vuelve, volvemos, volvéis, vuelven. Those are all of our conjugations for this OTUE stem changing verb, volver. Volver, to return. That's what happens if it's a O to UE. Okay, so repítame. Vuelvo, vuelves, vuelve, volvemos, volvéis, vuelven. I also, oh wait, no, mouse. Here it is. Here it is. Ready, guys? Oh man, that didn't do what I wanted to. Sorry. Classic mouse. Going back to my classic mouse. Volver, to return. To return. Save mouse. Going back here to erase. Clear screen. Bam. Okay. Volver, to return. So we're going to take a look now at some new verbs. Make sure you got this chart down. This is a sample of an O to UE stem changing verb. The rest of them follow the same pattern. So if I tell you it's O to UE, it's going to do just like this, but the verb's going to change. So we're going to look at some verbs. I'm going to show you some pictures. You're going to look at it. You're going to be like, oh, that looks like whatever. I will tell you what it means. So pay close attention to what I'm saying because I'm only showing you the Spanish on the screen. The first verb right here, he is closing the door. And that's right, to close. Okay, to close. Repítame. Cerrar. Cerrar. Roll the R's. Okay, cerrar is an E to IE stem changing verb. Write this down. Write. Where did my? No, not that. Save mouse. Write this down. E to IE. E to IE. That is how you're going to know it's a stem changing verb. Okay. I will teach it to you like this. And then as you move on through Spanish 2 and 3 and 4, if you so desire, you just got to know in your head, this is a stem changing verb. It's an E to IE. And you will, I promise you will get there. It just takes practice. We will know in our heads, we'll be like, cerrar. Oh, that's stem changing. It's an E to IE. Cerrar means to close. Okay, cerrar means to close. So just keep that in mind as we move on. Clear screen. Save mouse. Okay. The next verb, start. Oh, wait, we already did that. Empezar, right? Oh, but there is another one. There are two ways to say to start. This is the second way. Comenzar. Comenzar. Kind of looks like commence. Yes, commence, to start. Comenzar, to start. This is another E to IE stem changing verb. This you can write down. Don't worry about it right now, though. I will get back to what this means in a second. Okay, at the end, I'll tell you what that means. Comenzar, to start. E to IE. Write that down. Don't forget to please take notes, guys. I expect to see a picture at the end of this. And they're like, what? Same picture? Yep, same word in English. Different word in Spanish, but they are synonyms. Okay, empezar, comenzar. They both mean to start. And they both do this weird a plus infinitive thing, which again, I will get to in a minute at the end of the slides. But they are both E to IE, stem changing verbs. Okay, comenzar, empezar. They both mean to start or to begin. To start or to begin. Moving on. Okay, we got this guy. He says aprender, entender, comprender, entender, comprender. You just learned it. It means to understand. Aprender means to learn. Empezar and comenzar. Sorry. Entender and comprender. Those are two synonyms, sinónimos. Si comprender, you know, to comprehend. Entender, to understand. Comprender also can mean to understand. Both of these, entender, comprender, they both mean to understand, to comprehend. I will accept either. But notice, comprender is not a stem changing verb, right? We learned it before. It doesn't do this E to IE thing or O to UE thing. Entender, though, it does do the E to IE thing. Now, entender, it has a lot of syllables here, right? Entender, three syllables. So the question I pose to you now, which E is going to change? It's an E to IE stem changing verb. So is it this E, number one, this E, number two, Or this E, number 3. Which E will stem change? That's right. Numero dos. This one is going to be our E to IE because it's the one closest to the ending. Okay, it's the very last syllable before the ending. This right here. It's the one right before the ending. Entender. We don't say entender. We say entiendo, entiendes, etc., etc. Okay, so be careful of that. Make sure you know which E is stem changing. You move on. This verb, pensar, to think. Pensar. Repítame. Pensar. Pensar, to think. Another E to IE stem changing verb. Pensar, to think. So how would you say I think? I think. Yo pienso. Pienso. Okay, we got ganar, which you just learned this quarter, to win. Perder, to lose. Okay, perder is to lose. Ganar, to win. Perder, to lose. What's with the picture? I don't know. Okay, just go with it. Perder, another E to IE stem changing verb. Write that down. Perder means to lose. If I go too fast, make sure you pause me. Okay, but we're just moving on. Perder, to lose. Make sure you're repeating after me too, okay? The more practice you get, the better, I promise. Perder, to lose. Okay, this one is a cognate. Yes, preferir, which looks a lot like the word prefer. You are correct. To prefer, because it ends with IR. Preferir, to prefer. Preferir plus infinitive, because sometimes if we're saying, oh, I prefer to eat, she prefers to run. Okay, so remember, if you have a verb after it, you gotta leave that in the infinitive form, right? We cannot have two conjugated verbs right next to each other. I don't say I prefer I eat. I just say I prefer to eat. That's what that means right there. It means if you're saying preferring a verb, you gotta leave it in the infinitive form. Now, if you say I prefer an apple over a donut, prefiero una manzana más que un dona. Okay, dona or dono. Sometimes they say donut. Prefiero without the infinitive. You don't have to have it with it. It's just if you're preferring a verb. Now, this is another E to IE stem changing verb, but there are two E's here. So let me ask you again. First E or second E? Which one will stem change? The first E or the second E? It is the second E. See, prefiero, prefieres, prefiere, etc., etc., etc. Remember, it's the one closest to the ending. Okay, the ending or the the ending. That's what it's called. Okay, the one closest to the ending. This guy, he says, I want you. Querer, to want. If you know your history, okay, this is from history class typically. Querer, to want. Querer, to want. You might have heard the phrase te quiero, which means I love you, because querer can also mean to love. Typically, we use it for to want, but it can also mean to love, like a person. Okay, querer, to want. There's also a verb amar, to love. Okay, so querer more so using for want, not so much love, but it can be used for love. Querer, to want. Same thing here. Okay, if I want to eat, we leave that second verb alone. That's what that is saying right there. You leave the second verb alone. Querer, to want. E to IE. E to IE. Quiero, quieres, quiere. Okay, if you grew up here in Hawaii, this is what your school lunch looked like, right? Almorzar, to have lunch. You might have been asking yourself, wait, we learned to eat breakfast, desayunar. We learned to eat dinner, cenar. Why didn't we learn to eat lunch yet? That's because this is a stem changing verb. And I can't throw that at you in quarter 2 or you're going to get so overwhelmed, right? This, to lunch, to eat lunch. Almorzar is a O to UE stem changing verb. O to UE. Almorzar, to eat lunch. Okay, remember cuenta, guys, when we counted? See, contar, to count. Contar, to count. A O to UE stem changing verb. Make sure you write that down. Contar, to count. It can also mean like to count a story back. Like we usually say to tell a story. You can also say to count back a story. Okay, contar, to count or to tell, kind of, sort of. Okay, contar. Now, we now know how to say to sleep because you always ask me, Sarita, how do you say to sleep? You don't know how to say that yet. You know how to say to rest, descansar. Now you know how to say to sleep, dormir. See, dormir. Dormir is an O to UE stem changing verb. So, if this is an O to UE stem changing verb, it ends with IR. How would I say she sleeps or the baby sleeps? How would that conjugation look? Duerme, see? Duerme, duerme, O-T-U-E, and it's in the shoe, so we stem change. This one's a little tricky, but like you find it, right? Oh, I found the dollar bill. See, encontrar, to find. Encontrar, to find. O-to-U-E, encontrar, to find. Its stem changes O to U-E. It kind of looks like encounter, yes? To find, encontrar, or kind of to encounter. To show. Hopefully you don't have to do this, my juniors and maybe seniors. Mostrar, to show your driver's license because you got pulled over. No. Mostrar, to show. Okay, mostrar, to show. O-to-U-E. Muestro, I show. See, O-to-U-E. Poder. There's no other way for me to show you this because I don't know how to show you. Poder, guys. Poder. To be able to. That is what that verb means. Poder, to be able to. This is where we get, some of you have asked me already in class, puedo ir al baño. Puedo ir al baño. Am I able to go to the bathroom? See, poder can mean to be able to or to can. Okay, whatever. To can. We don't really say that in English though, right? To be able to can I, whatever, can he, whatever, she can, whatever, he can, whatever. To can, to be able to. So that's why we ask, puedo ir, can I go? Because that's the infinitive, right? We don't conjugate two verbs right next to each other. Puedo ir, can I go to the bathroom? Poder, to can, to be able to. This one, nobody ever does it anymore because you guys have phones that tell you everything. To remember, okay, like, oh, I'm going to put this thing on my finger because that makes me remember that I had to do something. I don't know. Again, old-fashioned. Recordar means to remember. I know it looks like record. No. False cognate. It means to remember. Okay, recordar is a O to U-E stem changing verb. O to U-E. Recordar, to remember. When people ask if you're excited for the first day of school, and this is you, I am dead inside. Haha, there it is again, volver, which means to return. Okay, to return, to go back to school, right? Volver, to return, which we conjugated this one. You should have this one written in your notes. Volver, to return. Okay, the very last verb that you're going to learn is jugar, which some of you have been asking me, how do I say this? Jugar. It means to play. And please take note, guys. This is the one and only verb that you will ever learn that has a U to UE, U-A-U-E stem change. Because there's a U in the stem. It's not an O to UE, it's a U to UE. Jugar means to play, okay? So now we can say, I play soccer. He plays American football. Jugar, please take a note here, is always followed up with this a plus the definite article, el, la, los, or las, when the name of a sport or a game is mentioned. For example, ella juega, conjugated, al tenis y al golf. She plays tennis and golf. Los chicos juegan al fútbol. The kids, the boys, play football, soccer. Nosotros jugamos al béisbol. We play baseball. But notice I have this happening here. And these all, tennis, golf, baseball, football, those are all el, right? Those are el football, el baseball, el golf, etc. So if we have a plus a el, that is where we get al. Okay, that's why that's al there. Plus the definite article, which in this case is your el. So that's why it's al. Okay. We always say jugar al whatever, to play the sport. It's weird, I know. Who says, oh, I play to the tennis, I play to the golf. Okay, but just think of it literally in that sense. Jugar always followed up by a. These two, I told you we come back to them. Comenzar and empezar. They both require a preposition a when they are followed by an infinitive. For example, comienzan a jugar a las 7. A jugar. They start what? What do they start? To play. They begin to play. They begin playing at 7. See, they begin to play. They start playing at 7. Notice they start doing something, right? That something requires a after. Okay, we always need a after. Same thing here. Ana empieza a escribir una carta. What is that saying? Ana empieza a escribir una carta. Ana starts to write a letter. See, Ana starts or begins to write a letter. We are starting an action. We're starting a verb, so you always empezar a, comenzar a. Only if it's followed up by a verb. But if we're just saying, oh, the class started, the class starts, there's no verb happening after it, so you can just leave it out. No need the a. And the very last thing, pensar, to think. To think. Yes, pensar by itself means to think, but two things happening here. If we got a pensar plus an infinitive, it actually means to plan or to intend on doing something, okay? So if I have pensar plus a verb, a not conjugated verb, I am planning something or I'm intending on doing something. For example, piensan ir al gimnasio. Piensan, it could be a they or a you guys, we don't know. Ir al gimnasio. Are they planning on going? You guys, sorry, that's what should say you guys. Are you guys planning to go to the gym? Are you making that plan? Because ir is an infinitive, right? So if you have a pensar plus infinitive, it's planning to or intending to do something. And the very last one, pensar en, obviously means to think in. Think about it as to think about something or to think about someone. So if I said pienso en mi clase mucho, yo pienso en mi clase mucho, what am I saying? I think about my class a lot. See, I think about my class a lot. Mucho. See, I think about. I think in my class a lot. Pensar. That's the very last thing you are learning. Now, the very last slide is a little bit of práctica. So let's go, guys. Práctica. Oops, I forgot to clear my screen. Eraser, clear screen. Okay. You're going to conjugate these verbs. Don't forget, some are E to IE, others are O to UE. Hopefully you wrote that down in your notes. What you're going to do is you're going to conjugate the verb depending on the subject. So look at the subject, look at the verb, and conjugate. We go with número uno, ellos. Recordar. Remember, if it's in the shoe, you must stem change. If it's out of the shoe, no stem change. Ellos recordar. Recuerdan. They remember. Recuerdan. Yo dormir, which we did this in the practice. Yo dormir. Duermo, ¿sí? Duermo. I sleep. Tu novio, preferir. Be careful, be careful, be careful. Which E stem changes? Which E is it? It's the one closer to the endings. It's closer to the ending. Prefiere, sí, prefiere. Vosotros. Queréis. Ooh, no stem change happening here because it's out of the shoe. If it's out of the shoe, nosotros, vosotros, no stem change. Mi prima y yo. Podemos, sí, podemos. Because again, out of the shoe. That's a nosotros, that's a we. So we don't stem change. No stem change for nosotros or vosotros. And last one, tú. Empezar. Empieza. See, you start. You start. You start. My cousin and I can. You guys in Spain want. Your boyfriend prefers. I sleep. They remember. Ta-da! And that is it, guys. That is it. Make sure you upload a picture of these notes to Google Classroom. I need a photo evidence that you have done this, por favor. Then go ahead and use this. Hold on to it. Please bring your notes to class next week. Any preguntas on this, let me know. I am always here to help. Nos vemos la próxima semana. See you next week. Don't forget, we are starting our full week schedule. 3 full weeks in a row. Adios.